miles around. I first met Gareth many years ago, and he always spoke about running away to the circus, as many of us have done at that age. In this case, he really did, and took his mum and dad with him. He's had a great life in circus, a great life in show business. He's going to tell you a little bit about it now. Please welcome to the stage, Bippo.
Yes. Wow. That's amazing. Good evening. Oh, come on, guys. You can do better than that. Good evening. Well, where do we start? I am a clown. Yeah, not too sure. We're at Magic Convention. Right, yeah, I am a clown, and it goes back 27 years ago to when I was just 3 years old. I like you lot. So I got taken to my first circus, which was Zippo's circus, and I fell in love. I absolutely fell in love with every single thing about it. The smell of the sawdust and the atmosphere in the tent, and how crazy everything was. It wasn't like theatre. My grandparents used to take me to amateur dramatic pantomimes and things like that, and it was just completely different, and I was hooked. Right there and then, I was completely hooked. Every birthday and Christmas, my mum and dad used to ask me, "What would you like?" And I used to say, "A clown nose." A bit weird. And then every sort of holiday and sort of special occasion, I used to want to be taken to circuses and things like that. And then it became an obsession. I became obsessed with clowns. And this is before the internet, so I started going to libraries and I started reading books and all sorts of things like that. And then eventually I persuaded my mum and dad to buy a caravan, and we used to go and stay on school holidays on a circus called Zippo's Circus. Have any of you heard of Zippo's Circus? Yes, and Martin Burton, Zippo himself, he sort of took me under his wing, and it is a big old wing, and he'll kill me if he hears me say that. And he saw how passionate I was, and he saw how passionate my mum and dad were to give me a career, to let me have a life that I sort of wanted. And this is all when I was just about 3 or 4. So we used to go and stay on circuses in a little 2-berth caravan, and there was 3 of us. That was awkward, especially the toilet situation. And also, I used to start performing when the TV was down. He started trying to do stories like Britain's Youngest Clown and all sorts of things like that. And then eventually, when I was about 7 or 8, I started entering Pontin's Young Entertainer of the Year. And guess what? I won. Yes, and I thought I'd made it now. It was absolutely brilliant, and that's when it sort of started. I started working for Butlins and Pontins. I was Britain's youngest redcoat when Butlins first sort of started trying to sell the company with the skyline and all the different things. We went on a tour with Ronan Keating and things like that, and that's where I sort of got hooked, and my mum and dad could really see that we got hooked, that I'd got hooked. But the problem is we had a 4-bedroom house in Manchester that we couldn't leave. So when I was about 9 or 10, my brothers had moved out of the house and they'd gone to university. My mum was a nursery nurse. My dad worked for British Gas, and he sadly got made redundant. So that year, when my dad got made redundant, when I was 9 years old, my mum turned around and said, "Shall we run away and join the circus?" And we did. And we've never looked back since. And because of them, I've had a career, and I mean that they're amazing. Parents that do that, fantastic. Because of them, I've never looked back, and it's now my 21st year in circus, and I've toured the world. I first joined the Moscow State Circus when I was just 9 years old, and that was really scary. For Mr. Jerry Cottle, who's at the back over there. Well done, Jerry. I joined the Moscow State Circus. Obviously, I couldn't be a performer because I'm not Russian, but yeah, I trained with the other artists and the other acts and things like that, and it was a great start to my career in circus. And then I joined Zippo Circus for 9 years. I was there for 9 years, but all I was doing was sort of doing front of house, selling things and random bits and pieces. And then slowly I started doing more and more in the show, and then it just evolved. And so, guys, would you like to see a little bit of what I do? Yes. Oh, come on, would you like to see a little bit of what I do? Yes. Brilliant. So the first thing I learned, I got told to always learn a skill, because being funny doesn't really get you far. So I started off with one ball, give me an ooh. Now it's boring, you just stand there, and this is what the Russians told me, stand there, throw this 1,000 times. And I did. That's my childhood. And then he said to change hands and then go over your shoulder, behind your back. That's it. And then he said to get your dexterity. And he said, last trick, always throw it up, catch it, everybody claps. He was right. He was right. And then he said to move on to 2 balls. 2 balls, give me an ooh. It's a bit more tricky with 2 balls because you pretend there's a box in front of you and your hands go in the bottom corners and you throw the balls to the top corners like this. And then every time there's a gap, you click your fingers and that's where the 3rd ball sits. But that got boring, so then I started trying to do 2 in one hand like this. And then I got a little bit lower. And then you have to train your left hand because your left hand isn't as good as your right hand. And then you try different ways of catching the balls. And then also you add in the over the shoulder, behind the back. And then you throw it up, catch it, and he said everybody claps again. That's fantastic. And then I moved on to 3 balls. 3 balls, give me an ooh. Like I said, it is a box. You've got to imagine a box in front of you, and you throw the balls to the top corners, and it goes like this. And that is the general juggling pattern. A lot of people think it is that, but it is not, because you can't do any tricks from that pattern. And then you can do all sorts of cool tricks, over the shoulder, behind the back. You can do a trick called columns. That's it. That's one of my personal favorites, because when you get bored, you can go like this. And then you can catch the balls in different ways. You can do a trick called Mill's Mess, and it is very tricky indeed, where you cross your arms each way. That's it. You can do really cool stuff like he got scared there. And then the last trick every single time is you throw it up in the air, catch it, everybody claps. And then you move on to 4 balls. 4 balls. Let me hear you say, ooh. Now, 4 balls is a bit more tricky. You do 2 in this hand, 2 in that hand. You put it together, and it looks like this. There we go. That's quite difficult. So clap then, clap. And then you can move on to tricks with 4 balls, where you change it up a bit. That's it. And then you can do there we go. And then you can do the shower. Last trick, throw it up, catch it. Everybody claps. Brilliant. Now, that is just juggling. I also got taught slapstick. Has anyone ever heard of slapstick? There's many different types of comedy. In circus, there's loads of different types of clowns. There's the European clowns that are very character-based. They always try and tell stories during we call them gags. They're like little mini sketches. They always try and tell stories through it. They don't just come in like British clowns and just do something funny, get out, because the attention span's so short. In France and in Europe, they get standing ovations after every single act. I don't know why that is. It's a lot more respected. I think in England, we have a lot of, stop showing off. So when they come to the circus and somebody's doing a quadruple back somersault, it gets a sort of this round of applause, where in Europe it gets a massive cheer and a clap. So also you can be very, very different with comedy in Europe, so they tell stories. And then in England, we have lots of slapstick, we have lots of vocal clowns. So I need somebody to help me with some slapstick. That's it, mate, come up. Give him a big round of applause. Hello. Come over here, I think. Don't fall up the steps. I don't think they're insured. That's it. Hi, mate. What's your name? Fraser. Fraser. Okay, Fraser, if you stand just there. Right, now, when 2 clowns are together, normally when they're in, like, Ringling Brothers in America and places like that, that is where they specialize in slapstick, because the circuses abroad, and especially in America, are so vast. I think the biggest circus in England at the minute is a circus called Circus Extreme that's only 2,000 seats. In America, we have, has anyone heard of Ringling Brothers? Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, they do stadiums and arenas, so everything that the clowns do has to be exaggerated by thousands and that, so you have to be big. So I'm going to teach you, Fraser, how to slap someone without hurting them. Okay, so please don't hurt me, because you're going to be slapping me, okay? So if you'd like to take your jacket off, that's it. Oh, a couple of cards fell out. That's awkward. If you stand just there. Right, what's going to happen is you have to make your movements as big as possible, okay? And then I will sell the rest. So what's going to happen, I'm going to come up to you, and you're going to swing from back here, get to there, stop, and I will do the rest, okay? So try it now a couple of times, as fast as you can. Ready, go! Oh, nice. You even did the foot. That was good. Try it again. Yes, brilliant. And now try it again. Brilliant. But now I'm going to be there, okay? So don't look at me so angrily, Fraser. Yes, exactly. And I've got toothache on the left-hand side. So I'm going to walk up to you, and it's going to go, hop! And then, yes, okay? Ready? Here we go. I'm nervous. Here we go, Fraser. And hop! No. You've got to keep your arm long and then stop, okay? So it's got to be that big, like that, okay? Here we go. So we're going to go, hop! Did that look well? Was that good? Now we're going to do it again, but what I want Fraser to do is follow it through, and I don't mean, okay? I want you to swing and then let your arm go a bit, but don't slap me. It's very complicated. Because so stand there like that. So you're going to do exactly the same, but don't stop dead. You're going to keep going, but very slowly. So you're going to stop and then keep going, okay? Yeah? You look nervous. I am. Take your hands out your pockets. Don't slap that. Right, here we go. Awkward. Here we go. Ready? Hop! Oh. Come on, that was good. That was a good one. You're doing well. That is called, in the trade, taking the nap. It's like wrestling. You know, does anyone watch WWE? Yeah, and it's where sometimes when there's two clowns together, you can call it during a gag. Oh, take the nap. So if it's part of, say like if you need to give someone a slap, I'm going to give you the nap, wait, bang, and that's it. You can add it in. It's like wrestling where they call the matches as it's happening. So if we were working together and you were more of a straight, sort of more serious comic or clown, you could go, right, I'm going to give you the nap under your breath, not on the microphone, and I'd just walk up to you and I'd be ready and then take the nap, okay? Brilliant. So that's it. Well, Fraser learned the nap. Step one. Step two is the clown trip. Come over here, it's Fraser. That's it. Now you can add this. All it is very simple. You can add it to anything, and it's great in cinemas with popcorn. It's fantastic. So you just walk, and you've got to kick the back of your heel, and then always look at it. It's nice. It gives a little added extra, okay? So you walk, kick the back of your heel, and then carry on and look at it. Go on, Fraser, give it a go. Don't fall over, because I'll get sued. Oh, no. And also, I'm not going to do that with you again because you got it. Also, you can do it up the steps, okay? So all that happens is you go to stand on the step, only use the very tip, can everyone see? Only use the very tip of your toe. So you're going to come up and then like that, okay? And that's great for if you're in an audience and you're trying to get them going before a show, you're trying to talk to your audience and sort of limber them up if they're all sort of sat there staring at you. You can walk up the gangways and you can have a prop, a box of popcorn, or maybe even if you're a magician, you could have some cards or something, you know. Do you want to try the steps? You might as well. You're doing a better job than me, Fraser. Here we go. He's dressed smarter, I know that much. Here he goes. He's going to fall up the steps. Come on, Fraser. There we go. Oh, you kicked it. No, it's not too bad. All you got to do is you got to go right on the very tip of your toe. So we're going to go right on the very tip of your toe. Let it slip off. Go on, try it again. I'm going to build a wall. Oh, one more time, because it's getting awkward now. There we go. Oh, it's all right. It's the shoes, mate. Anyway, he tried. Give him a round of applause. Right. Now, the last one that always gets a good reaction is basically a kick in the nuts. Without kicking the nuts. Okay, so all you're going to have to do is stand there. I'll show it on you first. So stand with your legs quite far apart, and I'm going to kick you. This is just like the nap. You can call it during a gag, during a sketch. I think you're just saying I'm going to kick you in the nuts. I've never really done it. So all you do is you've got to make sure that the trousers are okay, and then you're going to kick the bum, okay? Not the nuts. Here we go. So I'm going to go like that. Okay. Yeah. So then you've got to sell it. So you could go, you know. All right? You're looking very nervous. Fraser's sweating. Here we go. Ready, Fraser? Hey, up! Oh! Did I kick your nuts? Oh, did I? No. I thought I was in trouble then. Oh, dear. That would have been my last ever lecture. This is my first, by the way. Right, Fraser, I'm going to let you kick me. And I've seen your shoes. They're huge, mate. So be very careful, okay? So what you're going to do is, please, because they are big old shoes. So all you're going to do is you're going to keep your legs straight. That is the key to it. Keep your legs straight. And then this bit of your foot goes right underneath. Open your legs again. Yep. Right underneath. Kick the bum, okay? It's nice. It's nice. It's nice over Christmas dinner, you know. Come on, Fraser. I'm going to trust you on this. This might be really awkward and I might have to leave. Here we go. If you're going to do it, do it. Ready? Oh, he did it. Do it again. Keep your leg a bit straight. Oh, you're getting cocky now. You caught the very end of it. Come on, one last one. That's it. And I'm going to sell it now. Ready? 3, 2, 1. No, you do it better to me. 3, 2. Oh, come on. Give it up for Fraser. Amazing. Now, these are all slapstick things. You can also times all of that, what I've just shown you, by 1,000. You can times it by as much as you want. The bigger you can go, with the bigger the space that you're working in. Over Christmas, I do pantomime at it used to be called Echo Arena. It's now called the M&S Bank Arena. Horrible. But we do pantomime there, and it's a vast room. It's huge. So exactly like I'm telling you here, something small like just a slap. If we're doing it to a room like this where everyone can see, you sell it small. In that arena, it's like that, and then probably fall over, things like that. Fraser, hasn't it been great, guys? So, also, these are spinning play, very good for you. These are spinning plates. Now, props that you can teach kids. Now, kids, hands up in here if you've ever felt a bit strange around a clown. No one. Fantastic. Oh, that's very strange. Normally, kids and younger people, it's horrible because when they bring them into the circus tent, they normally have a child here, these parents that I'm on about, and they come up to you and they go, "Oh, look, there's a clown, he's going to get you." And you're stood there like, cheers. The kid now hates me, okay? So if you've got something that you can do with a child or a sort of younger person that's weary of you, it's always good to have stuff that you can teach people that's very, very easy. These are extremely... Have you ever done...
Try to.
Well, I'll teach you. So hold the stick. That's it. Hold it at the bottom. And I don't mean like that. If you put your finger up the stick, yep. That's it. And you're going to draw circles with your finger like that. Very nice wrist action, Fraser. There we go. So we're going to put the plate on the stick like so. There we go, Fraser. Brilliant. And then slowly but surely, spin the plate and get faster. Use your wrist, Fraser. Faster and faster. Wrist. Squeeze the stick, and it goes in the middle, and he's done it. It's nice, isn't it? So if you've got something that you can teach a child and you know how to teach them very, very quickly, do it. You know, it's always great to have stuff, even if, you know, like you're a magician, try and get stuff to break that barrier straight away, I think. Fraser, you're amazing, mate. Thank you so much. Give him a round of applause. Thanks. Cheers. Thank you. So, a brief history on circus. A lot of people think circus was invented in Italy. Wrong, completely wrong. It's an English invention. It was created by a man called Philip Astley 250 years ago. And he was just a horse trainer. And he created what is now known as the circus ring. And it was 19 meters in diameter. And it was a perfect diameter for the horse to run around and not be uncomfortable, and also the perfect diameter to keep the rider on the horse at all times. Now, he used to build his own. There weren't any circus tents, back then, 250 years ago. So each town that he had to go to, they had to literally go to lumber yards, buy wood, and build circuses. And they were huge. They were bigger than any circus that is in England today. And what happened was the horses needed a break, obviously, and so did the riders. So that's when he started adding jugglers. He started adding acrobats, jesters, which then obviously became the clown. And then that's how circus was born. And that is also, circus it has a lot of sayings that are linked to it. The saying, jumping on the bandwagon. Does anybody know where that comes from? Basically, the saying, oh yeah, you're jumping on the bandwagon, because as the circus procession came into your town, local politicians used to jump onto the bandwagon to act like they were the reason that the circus was in their town, to earn brownie points for the locals. So the sayings now, oh, you're jumping on the bandwagon, it's actually a circus saying. Now, who in here, I don't know whether anyone saw me in the Sooty show or saw the picture of me. Ooh. Wow. Saw the picture of me earlier. I am not actually a clown. I'm not a clown at all. I'm called an Auguste. A lot of people think clowns are just people with the red noses. Clowns are actually the people with the white faces and the pointy hats. Okay? The word clown comes from the German word Klun, and that is the white face and the pointy hat. I am actually an Auguste clown, which is a silly character. Predominantly, they have makeup that consists of just red, white and black. There is a hobo character or a tramp clown. So that's basically the clowns have sort of tatty costumes. There's famous clowns like Emmett Kelly, George Carl. Has anyone heard of George Carl? He was seen as a hobo clown because he was very scruffy. And I'm an Auguste clown. I'm going to put my makeup on. Is that all right with everyone? Whilst I do that, I'm going to throw it out there, and if anyone's got any questions, please, because otherwise it'll be really awkward. If anyone's got any questions about circus, traveling, or anything at all, please feel free to shout out or put your hands up or anything like that. So basically what happens is, so it's very bad luck. Well, I got told this. It was probably from a guy that had really bad personal hygiene. But I got told it's very bad luck for a clown to clean out their makeup case. Also, there's a lot of superstitions in circus. You're not allowed to wear green costumes, even though the grass that you perform on is green, and the money back then was obviously green ink. You're not allowed to sit with your back facing the center of the circus ring. That obviously comes from when the circuses had lions, tigers, and animals, because you could get grabbed through the cage. Is that me? Awkward. And also, you're not allowed to whistle in the tent because apparently it brings wind. There's loads and loads of circus sort of superstitions and things like that. And also, that is my very first talc sock from when I started 20-something years ago. Don't know why I showed you that. That's gross. So I joined Zippo Circus and I was on there for 9 years. And then I moved on and I worked on many different shows. I worked on Rusty Russell's Circus. I've worked at the Hippodrome in Great Yarmouth. Has anyone heard of the Hippodrome in Great Yarmouth? Yeah. I've worked for Charles Chipperfield's Circus, Circus Mondeo, obviously Jerry Cottle's Circus. I went and worked at Wookey Hole, and they've got an amazing circus school there, and I was one of the trainers. And that actually, going to work, I'm not just saying it because Jerry's obviously sat here, but going to work at Wookey was a godsend, because working so much, they do shows every single day as part of the attraction. And working so much, they do 3 shows a day. And when you work so much, you can change things, and it's perfect for comedy, because when you're only working 1 show a week, 2 shows a week, you tend to sort of, I find, you miss out on a lot of things that you can sort of create and make funny. And so working at Wookey Hall, and obviously, and also, back when I first started, there wasn't many circus schools. There was only circus schools in London, and they were really, really, really expensive. Jerry, what happens at Wookey Hole is you pay for your training, but then you also work and perform as part of the attractions, and the kids actually get paid. So they treat it like a job, and it's amazing. And there's been times where, I don't know whether I'm allowed to say it, social services have brought kids down who are on their last chance for everything. There was a girl called Hannah, and it was her last chance. She was getting kicked out of her house. She was getting kicked out of school. She'd been expelled from 3 different schools. She'd go into Morrison's and tip people's trolleys over, and things like that. And they basically brought her into Wookey Hole and said, look, we'll pay for it and everything. can we bring Hannah in here to see if this can help? And she's still in the circus now. And that's all because of what Jerry does. Whilst I'm putting on my makeup, I'll just explain what I'm doing. This might look weird, a bit like Predator, but the red in the middle is just, it's sort of, you know, like all these Instagram models nowadays, they talk about contouring. That's basically what I'm doing. The white on my forehead is to make my forehead stand out. The red in the middle is obviously to make it look like it goes in. And basically all I'm doing is trying not to look so fat. And yeah, so your eyebrows are your most expressive feature in your face, your eyes and your eyebrows. You can tell a lot about people from just looking at their eyes. So my makeup is very eye heavy. And I've changed a lot over the years. When I first started, I wanted to be like an American clown, so big white mouth, big white eyes, big white. But then the film It came along and ruined everything. So it's very, very minimalist now. It's very, very minimalist. Like I say, most of the shows in England are only 300, 400, 500 seats, and the ones that are big, you're still working very, very close to the public. Like I say, years ago, the average size for a circus was 2,000, 4,000 seats, so the people right at the back had to see what you were doing. So basically, everything now is very, very toned down, and like I said at the start of the show, we tend to meet and greet the public, so you don't want to, you want to be as normal as possible, while still being a clown, which sounds a bit odd. But also, I used to be a member of Clowns International. Has anyone heard that? Clowns International, and that's where I met the lovely Clive and the lovely, oh, I forgot your name. This is really odd. Jeannie, yes, sorry. And they really helped me as well. They helped a lot, because I just started. Sorry about this. And this is, the makeup I'm using is grease paint. And it's still the old-fashioned, I mean, look at that, that's disgusting. It's not the proper old grease paint that used to be made out of pig fat and zinc, and it used to give you horrible conditions. And I've got friends that have been clowns for years and years and years, and they've got terrible skin now, really, because of the stuff that they used to put on their face. But this is still sort of grease paint. Yeah, so I'm trying to be as quick as possible, sorry. So obviously red cheeks, red nose. I've accentuated the eyebrows. The red is just basically to add colour to your face so you don't look like a potato, which I tend to do. But yeah, in England now, there's more circuses than ever before. And a lot of people, a gentleman the other week, when I was doing some press for pantomime over Christmas, the press agent for the Liverpool Arena said to me, "Oh, why are you still doing circus? It's dying." And it isn't. It really isn't. And the greatest, I take it everybody in here has seen The Greatest Showman film. That has really skyrocketed circus. It has died off. I've done this summer at Minehead Butlins with part of Gandhi's circus, and it has died off because last year was crazy how well the ticket sales went just on the back of that movie. But circus is booming in England. There's 35 different shows in England, touring, traveling, moving around, and they're like little villages. And you meet amazing people as well. Old circus people are like, they're like books. It's unbelievable. I met a guy called Uchi Tabak, a Hungarian guy. This is when I first joined the Moscow State Circus and we were in Edinburgh. 45-mile-per-hour gusts. 45-mile-per-hour gusts. The tent shouldn't have even been on its feet. The tents are only, the big tops, are only designed to stay on the feet for about 30 miles per hour. It was 45 miles per hour. This guy was on top of the tent during the pull down, which is circus slang for dismantling the big top and all the equipment, and he was on top of the tent unlacing it. as you do, in 45-mile-per-hour gusts. And also, it wasn't just windy, it was raining, lashing it down. And this Uchi, I was watching as a 9-year-old child, slid from the very top of the tent, 14 meters was to the cupola, so it's probably about 20 meters, slid off, landed on his head like a dart. And I obviously crapped myself as a child, seeing that. I thought he was dead. This guy stood up, went back to his wagon, circus slang for caravan, got a scarf and tied it round his neck, went back out, did the rest of pull down, and I'm talking carrying seating boards on top of your head. And then he drove from Edinburgh down to York, a big 46-foot ex-military Foden lorry. And not the power steering that we have nowadays. You had to literally stand on top of the seat and reef it over. The next day, he did the build-up, which is circus slang for, obviously, erecting the big top. And then he said to his wife, Mary Ann, I've got a really bad pain in my neck, and I feel slightly sick. So she then calls my mum. My mum goes over and says, well, what happened? Well, I was on top of the tent, bloody windy, bloody slipped down, hit my head, stupid. And my mum went, from the top? Yes. She went, why haven't you been to the doctors? Because I have to make pull down, drive, and that was the most important thing in his life. Pulling down, moving the tent. My mum said, right, get in the car right now. Took him to the doctors. He'd broke his neck in 3 places. Now these are the interesting people. It's unbelievable, the situations that you see. An accelerator cable on Circus Mondeo on a big old Foden lorry broke, snapped. They couldn't drive the forklift, which was essential to a circus. They couldn't drive it to the next ground. I get a phone call from a guy called Jason Timmis, laughing. You'll never guess what? Hey! I went, what's happened? What's happened? Where are you? Where's the forklift? We've got to get built up. Oh, you'll never guess. Be at the gate with a camera. Be at the gate with a camera. We'd all heard that this accelerator cable had snapped. I'm at the gate with a camera, and this Foden turns up, this big ex-military Foden, and everyone's like, well, what's the problem? He lifted the bonnet, and because he didn't have another extension accelerator cable, he'd strapped one of the Polish workers to the bottom of the lorry, holding the 2 pieces of accelerator cable. This isn't a joke. I wish it was. And he had a broomstick through a hole, and every time he wanted to accelerate, he'd push down on the guy's head with a broomstick, and he'd go, and when he'd release it, he'd let it go. It's mad! It's insane. All these different stories, all these different things. And that is what I love, and that is why after 21 years, loads of people always, when I go to pantomime, we're doing the press days, and I did recently, I just did Peter Pan, and Captain Hook was Mark Lebet from The Chase. Does anyone know Mark Lebet? Lovely fella, eats too much of my food, but lovely, lovely man. And I hated it, because when we sit down, a lot of people in here have probably done pantomime before. You do the very first, hello, well, what have you been doing? Oh, I've been doing a theatre tour of Fat Features. Oh, lovely. What have you been doing? Oh, I've been doing a vagina monologue. That's what they do. They all talk. And then it gets around to me. What have you been doing? I've been doing circus stuff. And you see the faces. They sort of roll their eyes and things like that. And then it's amazing how much their opinion changes when they realise the stories we were in Hampstead Heath in London with Bippo Circus, and it was our first season. My parents, sorry, this is messy. My parents, me, and my mum and dad were sat eating. We weren't eating anything special. I think it was a pot noodle. And this kid walks up to the window, and these are the preconceived notions that people have about circus people. This isn't a lie either. This kid walked up to the caravan, and he said, "Oh, look, Mummy, they're eating like normal people." What? And that happened. The way I went to school, because of traveling, I did a thing called, sorry, this is minging. I did a thing called distance learning, which basically, my school in Manchester sent me a work pack, and it was basically what all the kids in school were doing. And each education authority had to send out a teacher to teach me in the caravan, 1-to-1. Not every single day, 3 times a week. And when I took my GCSEs, I took my 8 GCSEs in 8 different schools around London. And I passed. But when I was in primary school, I used to have to go into the primary schools and make friends with the kids and everything. And when you told them that we had electric, and some caravans nowadays have things that I've got an American caravan that was used on the set of Harry Potter. Daniel Radcliffe stayed in my bed. And the sides pull out, not with me in it. the sides pull out. It's got state of the art, it's a power shower and everything like that. And people still think we sort of, don't live like, no, look, Mummy, normal people. But they really do. And they're the most interesting people ever. Jerry Cottle's got a book out, Confessions of a Showman. I don't know whether anyone's read it. If you haven't, do it. It's amazing. I read it before I went and worked at Wookie Hole, and I nearly didn't go. Because I thought, wow, this guy's crazy. But no, they're not crazy. They're not crazy people. They're passionate, and they love what they do. And every single circus person I've ever met, and this is why I still love it now, still to this day, will fight for what they do. And just now, yesterday, I'm on a circus called Circus Star, which is a charity circus. And basically, we do shows for underprivileged people, children with special needs, women's institutes, things like that. It's very, very, very rewarding. Last night, we pulled down the big top in Macclesfield. We didn't finish. The second show went down at 9 p.m. We didn't finish pulling down. Sorry. We didn't finish pulling down the big top until 12:30. And by that time, I'm not joking, I've still got them in my car, because that's how quick I had to get here. I've got jeans with mud up to my thighs. Today, I left, but today they had to rent 3 tractors from local farms. Tomorrow, so I drove from Macclesfield, which is up near Manchester, at 3 o'clock in the morning to get here for 8 to be in the Sooty Show. Because I love Richard Cadell. Who doesn't? Isn't he amazing? Yeah. And tomorrow, so the circus has taken all day today. I've just had a call off my partner, and the poles, which are the king poles, haven't even been put up yet. Tomorrow, there's 2 shows, 1 o'clock and 7 o'clock. And that means in the morning, about 6 in the morning, we're going to have to get up, build a tent up, everybody, not 1 person, 2 people, not the troop of workers that we have. Every single person has to build up, and I promise you, we'll finish at 20 minutes before the doors open. And then we've got to do this, do 2 shows, then pull it down again and move to Leeds from Bradford. And if that isn't dedication, it's unbelievable. So basically, to explain my makeup, the mascara from far away really opens your eyes. Yeah? And the eyebrows, you've got a lot of movement. The swirly bits are a sort of hint to my one of my best mates' favourite clowns, Henry the Prince of Clowns, who got me my first job at the Hippodrome, Great Yarmouth. I'd never worked on a circus on my own as a principal clown before in my life. And Henry, my friend from Venezuela, hey man, I get you a good job, man. And I get you hundreds of pounds, man. And I went, where? What you talking about? Hundreds of pounds, Hippodrome, Great Yarmouth. I went, Henry, shut up. I'm not going to get to go there. Next phone call I had was from Christine J, who's Peter J's wife, runs the Hippodrome, Great Yarmouth. Hello, Henry's told me all about you, says you're great. And I'm thinking, I'm not. You know, I'd not done clowning on my own ever. I'd always been part of 3 clowns or 2 other clowns. You know, to be honest, it was brilliant being part of a clown troupe. I got to work with Charlie Caroli Jr. Everyone know him? Not just a funny person, but amazing. A clown called Tweedy. Has anyone heard of Tweedy? If you haven't, YouTube him, Facebook him. He's utterly brilliant. A French clown called Mathieu Dallant, who is on a show called Arlette Grusse in France. He was amazing. And Henry, my best mate, he got me a job. So it wasn't ever a problem being part of all these, you know, a clown troupe, but I never got to shine. So Christine rang up and said, Henry's told me the money you want. I'm thinking, Jesus, what's he said? And at the time, I was on £140 a week on Zippo Circus because I'd gone there as a 9-year-old child. So I couldn't then just go, right, I'm 18 now, pay me, because it doesn't work like that in circus. You've got to work up the ranks. It's like a football team, like everything else. So Christine J says, oh, Henry's told me, well, that's reasonable. He'd ask for £1,000 a week. So from £145 to £1,000 a week, I nearly threw the phone out the window. So I turn around, I'm sat there like this, and my mum's going, talk, Gareth, like this. And I'm going, yeah, that'll be, talk, Gareth, yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, I think so. Don't you? She took the phone off me. Yeah, we'll do it. She did it, my mum. We drove, cut to, driving to Hippodrome Great Yarmouth. You couldn't fit a bus pass in between my arse cheeks. I was that nervous. We walked into the building, and if any of you have ever been, you walk in midway up. It's like Blackpool Tower. You walk in midway up, and the whole room opens up in front of you. I went, I'm not doing it. My mum went, yes, you are. I went, I'm definitely not doing it, 150%. I will die on my backside in this building. She went, you are doing it because you haven't got 60 quid that we've just put in the diesel tank to get here. And that was the whole reason I did it, is because I couldn't pay my mum and dad back. And that was the first job on my own as Bippo the Clown. Yeah, and I haven't looked back since. So yeah, any questions from anybody? Any, yeah.
You've just put mascara on.
Yep.
Would you, a male performer on stage, would you recommend them putting mascara?
150%. I work with a guy called Joel Hatton and a guy called Ross Shirley, who was one of Jerry's kids. And they always used to go, oh, it's a bit camp wearing makeup, camp. They were like that. I said, boys, look at the photographs. Facebook now is the most important form of advertising, social media, Facebook. Everybody's got the phones out. It's now, some people have done surveys and things like that. More people see Facebook posts than they do posters that circuses physically pay for to be put up in the shops and stuff. So if your face is being photographed that many times and it's a big shiny, you know, I think you've got to look, you know, so even Ross does Diablo, you know, and Juggling, things like that. He now, because of me, wears a full face of makeup with red and mascara, not like this, but to a point. And I think it really does help, I really do. And I think it changes you from just sort of doing something to being something. And I really think that. So, anyone else?
Do you do a cabaret act, or is there a cabaret act in the pipeline, like Charlie Caroli Jr.?
Do I do a cabaret act? The easy answer is no. Basically, that's one of my main things, and Jerry's always told me to do it. You've got to get a 45-minute cabaret act. You have to work on the big, you know, cruise ships and things like that. I haven't. I've got a lot of gags, a lot of sketches that I'd like to say I've written and done. I do a Mr. Tumble tribute act where I come in actually in a big tumble dryer costume. I do a rock star gag with all the different hits from the charts nowadays. I do a lot of gags, but I haven't got... But yes, there is stuff in the pipeline. There is... The Butlins have approached me for next year for a touring show. The focus of the whole show is comedy. And I think comedy now is essential. I really do. The amount of shows that I've seen that haven't got comedy in, and it's flat and it's a bit eggy, you know, and then you see another show with good comedy, there is a difference. I think it really changes things. And I think at Wookie Hole now they've got a show called Hocus Pocus, and they've got 2 girls doing the comedy that have never touched comedy before in their lives. They've never even dreamt of doing it, but they do comedy, and it's good. It is good. And all those people that say, oh, you can't teach comedy, I've been taught comedy. I've been taught comedy from Charlie Caroli. You pick up timing, you pick up skills, and they do a really good job. You know, one of them's a hula hoop artist, the other one's an aerialist, but they do comedy in the show, and it really, really works. You've seen it. Yeah, exactly. It's fantastic.
Two questions and a point, please. First of all, did you have to register your face like a long time? I suppose they do.
Yeah.
So your face is registered as yours.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a great thing to bring up. This is my first lecture, by the way, so that's why I've been all over the place. I've never done anything like this before. And everyone that says, how did you get in the business? I always go, long story. I've now got to tell the long story. And it's crazy. Yeah, clowns in England have to have their faces registered on eggs. They don't have to. Anyone can put makeup on, but it's what they do. And there's a clown egg register. It used to be held at Wookie Hole. And people, it was great help for me. Very important, I think, because this isn't just makeup, this is me, I think. Because it's taken years of, someday I'll go, oh, I won't put why have I got 3 dots there? I don't know, I really don't, but I do it, and I think that's me. And I think that's how important a clown's image is. I'd like to see it as a brand. It is a brand. I sell caps now. I haven't got any here, but I wish I did. I sell caps now, I sell T-shirts, I sell all sorts of stuff, and it is a brand. Your face is your brand, your image is a brand, and also then that ties your work in as a brand as well. And I think it's so important for a clown's face, you know. And yeah, great point, and it did help.
Second point, do you actually use any bits of magic at all in your act?
Yes, magic was one of my first things that got me excited. I saw, you all know who he is, Stephen Malone. Yeah, I saw Stephen Malone at the GMEX Centre in Manchester. He wore a white mask and he was doing this weird sort of, he shouldn't have done the dancing, but he was doing magic, coin magic. He had the thumb tips, he had everything like that. And that got me excited. And we used to go, Clowns International, one of my favourite things to do was go around the stalls and look at the magic stuff. My bedroom still now, to this day, has boxes of magic stuff. And we don't, in circus now, magic has had a resurgence. Because of things like Britain's Got Talent and YouTube and things, everyone's got a skateboard or a scooter and they can all do crazy things now. So circus is having to go in a different direction now. And magic is that direction, I believe. And because kids can now do the things that they used to watch and see as impossible. There's trampoline parks now. There's flip outs. There's skate parks in every village, every town, everything like that. So they can all do the things that they're watching on YouTube and they see in a circus. So now the circuses abroad that use projection and they use 4D effects. You'll be watching a circus and as someone's flying around in the air, they use fans to blow wind at you, like a 4D effect. And now, magic. There's now about 5 or 6 big touring illusion acts that aren't just zigzag boxes, and nothing wrong with them, by the way, if anyone owns one. Not just zigzag boxes and not just bits and pieces. Big, expensive, grand illusions, but not just the illusions. They're done well because it's mixed with circus and it's mixed with a girl comes out of the box, then she'll climb up in the air and do something up there that you've never seen before. Then she'll get back down and she'll be vanished. You get what I mean? It adds a whole new dimension to circus that before they did have that. And Siegfried and Roy in Las Vegas, they always used circus, and it was amazing, you know. And then it sort of went to the more mentalism on the big shows. But now it's coming back. And I think circus now, if you see in the future, mark my words, I reckon each show in England will have an illusion act, a box act, even mentalism maybe, it'll come through. And so, yeah, I don't use magic in my clowning because I always use a straight man, a ringmaster character, and I'm always his foil. So I'm always the funny one to his, the Bobby to the Tommy Cannon, Bobby Ball. You know what I mean? I'm always the silly one. So it's all very much, don't do that, da-da-da, 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 and it's all, I'm very rough with stuff as well. Jerry bought me some multiplying bottles. We had to buy 6 sets in a year because I absolutely destroyed them. But yeah. Jerry? Yeah. I do too. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Thank you. Jerry's right. Jerry's completely right. There's so many people that are coming through circus schools now. They are very good at practicing. They're very good at learning the skills. I can only do 4 bowls. I was embarrassed. When I first went to Wookey Hole, Jerry went, take the juggling class. So I went like this. Right, guys, take 1 ball. And they went, why? Okay, take 2 balls. And they all went, well, we've got 3. Okay, right, so the juggling pattern. And they went, yeah, we know. I thought, shit. Yeah. So then they went, here we go, this is what we can do. 5 balls and things like that. Amazing, unbelievable. But like Jerry said, we had a kid at Wookey Hole called Alex McGillivray, one of the best, unbelievable jugglers in the world, but no personality, no presentation, because of the performance thing. I always think it's very important to perform, and that's why Wookey Hole is absolutely fantastic, because they get a chance to perform the tricks and things like that. And also, like Jerry said, studying the craft. I've taken that from Martin Burton, from Jerry, from things like that. They all watch each other's shows. They all go, the amount of times that Jerry's rung me up, come on, we're going to the theatre. And we end up going, and it's rubbish, but we're there. You know, other times we've gone and we thought it would be rubbish, and it's the best show we've ever seen, and we've taken stuff and used it. I think it's very important. And Norman Barrett, the ringmaster, I worked with him for 9 years, and he said, watch everything and take as much advice as possible because it's free. And he also said, he called me a little fat bastard before this. He went, oi! Don't ever think you're good enough. The moment you think you're good enough, don't do it anymore. And I think that has stayed with me forever. I was pacing before this lecture. I was pacing before the Sooty show, before every show in Liverpool with 1,500 people. It's absolutely terrifying, but you've got to do it. Guys, I don't know what the time is, but past? Oh, I thought I was only going to do 30 minutes. I've got to drive to Bradford. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Thank you so, so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, what an incredible afternoon. How about that? The one and only Bippo.
Woo!